Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of my Woman Who Inspires series. My name is Sreshtha Tewari. I am the director of the Self-Worth, Leadership, and Empowerment Consultancy. I am a motivational speaker and a wholeness guide, which really just means that I want all women to feel whole and ultimately to be mentally free. In this series, we talk to successful women who have dealt with negative emotions, as we all have, but they have used these emotions to push them to a better place in their life and even their purpose. Today, I am really excited to have one of my old high school friends with me. Her name is Lauren Samuel. Lauren is an information security consultant by day and an internet entrepreneur by night. She works in the multinational gaming industry. She holds an MBA in technology management. She is certified as an information security professional and ISO27001 Lead Auditor. Welcome to this series, Lauren. How are you today?
I'm doing well today. I'm feeling really good.
That's good. We are happy to have you here. Lauren and I went to high school, the good old days. And when you meet up after a long time, it's like a reunion. So we're going to get a chat and talk and catch up on some of the things we missed out on, in particular, her emotional healing journey, or one of them. So Lauren, I invite you to share with us your emotional healing journey.
Sure. Thank you. Well, for me, it started the day my daughter was born. About 3 years ago, I had a traumatic birth experience. My water bag burst way too early, several months early, and I had to spend a lot of time in the hospital. And one night, my daughter decided she wanted out, so we almost lost our lives in that process. Both my daughter and I were in a very, very tight medical situation, and we could have died, but we didn't. And the best thing in my life was born and given to me. But the best day of my life also was one of the saddest days of my life, because when my daughter was born, I only had $21 to my name. And I had very little support. I had no way of knowing how I will take care of her, take care of myself. It was a very, very dark place to be in on the day she was born.
Okay, wow, that is such a frightening experience to know that the day that your daughter was born was one of the best days, and still a most disturbing or frightening place to be, not knowing the outcome of that situation. And it reminds me of in life, there's the yin and the yang. When we look at things from a bird's eye view, there is good and bad, light and darkness. And it seems as though what you're speaking to is an example of that situation. The good being your daughter, and the bad being, or the dark being, the things that you are speaking about in respect of feeling financially secure in order to see about her and bring her up. And as a mother, we all could identify with the endless amount of worries we have for our children, being able to take to them, to provide, to nurture them, and even to make sure that they are financially secure. So how did you deal with those emotions? First of all, I don't want to assume your emotions, so you can tell me how you were feeling and how did you deal with that?
First thing first, I felt like a failure, to be quite honest. I felt like I failed her as a mom. I felt like I failed myself as a woman. I felt hopeless. I felt alone. I was depressed. Every negative word you could find, I felt it.
And how did you progress through those feelings?
Well, it took me quite a while to come to grips with what was happening to me. I would say probably about 3 or 4 months, just crying, feeling anxious over everything, worrying about money, worrying about myself, worrying about my child. And it came to me one day that I needed help, that I was alone, I was feeling alone, but I needed to talk to someone. I needed someone to hear me. I needed to voice my concern and seek validation that I wasn't going crazy, that something bigger wasn't happening, because there was also the threat of postpartum depression, which is a very real condition. And I knew if I was to be any good to my daughter, I needed to heal myself. So I sought help. Honestly, I didn't seek help from friends or family because I was still afraid of being judged. So I went to a therapist, someone who didn't know me, who I felt wouldn't judge me, and helped me seek clarity in the situation. And through my therapy, I was able to find means of dealing with my anxiety and dealing with my fears in ways that fit my life. And one of those things was journaling. I was able to write my thoughts down and my feelings down on paper because I didn't have anyone around me other than a baby. And I couldn't talk to my baby or the wall. So I spoke to myself. And I spoke to myself through my words and in my journal. And sometimes I would just read it over and see how I was feeling in that moment, and then bring myself back forward to see that I'm not in that moment anymore. I'm in a much better place. And it gives me that feeling that I've accomplished something. And in order to do that, I had to put my mind in a different space. I had to change the way I looked at things and the way I looked at life, and flip that negative into something positive. I had to learn from what was going on and find my power back, because I have my superpower. And I had to get in touch with what my superpower was, that I do have control over my environment, not anyone else's, just my environment. And once I was able to flip my mind that way, I'm better able now to manifest a different feeling when things go wrong. Because let's face it, we are human. And as a mom, things can happen. And these kids try to kill themselves every day in what they're doing. But I'm now able to deal with these, feelings that come up in a much different way, because I'm watching it with different eyes now. And I only found that clarity through talking to someone, through expressing myself when I felt like I had no one.
Yeah. And as such, as women, we always feel that we are alone. But the things you're speaking about, feeling that you're a failure and feeling that you have no one, there are women who have family around them, who have a relationship, and they have the exact same feeling. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this series, so women would know that in their feeling that they are not alone, whether you are actually or alone or not, you can feel that way. And the thing is, in your case, you said you didn't go to friends or family because you feared being judged. And this is something else in our culture. As a friend, we tend to look at our friends from our own perceptions and our own experiences without honoring their journey and their authentic self. But I'm glad that you went to therapy, because therapy is something I completely believe in, and something that helped me as well. And even through those nights with your daughter, because I could completely relate to everything that you are saying, the feeling alone and having to do everything alone. I can imagine you not getting sleep and wondering how you're going to say about this baby. You can't function because you don't have sleep, so you can't think. But yet you have somebody who is relying on you. Mm-hmm. And I like that you mentioned the tools that you used, like the journaling, and that you use your journal to look at your progress in terms of your mindset and how things are changing, your reality is changing, and that you spoke to how changing your mindset and looking at things differently helped the situation that you were in. I want to ask you, that unfortunate experience that you had, what are the lessons you learned from that?
The main lesson I learned from it is that I have zero control over what happens next. I only have control over what happens now. And as soon as I learned that, I'm able to function. Because previously I was in a state of worrying, how am I going to feed her? I don't have money to pay my bills. What am I going to do? And I couldn't function in the now because I was just so focused on what's coming. So learning to just be mindful and staying present and just dealing with what's happening in front of me in this very moment is what was key for me learning how to transform my life and transform my mind and my environment and the world that I'm in. It allowed me to have a positive relationship with my daughter because she then got a mommy that would smile rather than be worried every time she cried. I was glad to hear her voice when she smiled. It just simply changed everything for me.
And I want to ask you, so this experience, which really started in relation to your daughter, have the learnings from that experience transferred or translated into other arenas in your life where you are able to apply the learnings from this experience so that you are able to be in the moment in the other areas in your life, not prejudge and not hold on to an expectation as opposed to living in the moment?
Oh, most definitely. Again, that whole concept of living in this moment and not worrying about what comes, that related into all aspects of my life. So even in my professional career, it showed up there where I'm able to function at a higher level in my organization and on my team. And I'm viewed as a valued member of my team. And I'm sought after by different people, even from different teams. I'm there to help them in other functions beyond my own core values and my own core function. And then in my personal life, I saw it very important to create multiple streams of income into my life because, again, when my daughter was born, I had $21 to my name. And I never wanted to be in that position again because I wanted to be able to create a secure financial base for my child. I'm in my 40s, so I'm very well aware that I'll be retiring at some point soon, and my daughter would still be young. And she would still need me, and I would want to support her as a mom. I would definitely want to support my child. So for me, starting my own business, something that I can do alongside what I'm doing now, was important. And then perhaps maybe eventually I might go into it full time, but for now, it's a part-time for me. And it gives me fulfillment because in my business, I am not worrying about what happens tomorrow. I am dealing with what's happening now because if I worry about what comes tomorrow, I may never do anything now. And if I compare myself to other people's success, I will lose the fact that I am on my own journey and I would stop enjoying my journey. So I'm no longer comparing myself to others and their success, but now I'm free to praise other people's success and celebrate their success, knowing that mine is on its way if it hasn't already happened. So that whole feeling of being mindful and staying in the moment helps. It helps. It helps in my career. It helps me with my business, and it helps me at home.
Yes, so that's really amazing. So, sometimes these things happen and it's extremely horrible and extremely heartbreaking. And it's not something we would wish on anybody. But in that person's life, there's so much growth and learning from it that you become a much better person. And that is the point of the series, to show that, no matter what we're going through, while you're going through it, it is difficult and you're not going to be smiling. You really have to live and sit in your feelings and understand what those feelings are telling you and then take action, which is what you did. So before we go, Lauren, I want to ask you, what would you tell your younger self, or do you have a message for women out there in a similar situation to you?
Yes, actually, I have two things that I would tell my younger self or any woman that's listening right now. And the first thing is to breathe. Take a moment, stop and breathe. Just Stay in that moment, and then you'll realize that it is not as bad as you are picturing it to be. And the second thing I would tell my younger self or any woman is that you are not alone. You're not alone. Seeking help, seeking support, seeking community does not make you weak. It actually strengthens you. So have comfort knowing that you are not alone. What you are going through, someone else have walked that road as well. Seek that person and lean on them. That's what I would tell them.
Yeah, and that is so important because, as I had said before, we all think we go through things alone, but there are so many other women having the same exact experience as you. It may be on varying degrees and varying levels, but the emotions that we feel, the fear and the worry, the anxiety, all of us go through those things. And just knowing that someone else is going through this with you helps in your own mind a lot to comfort you. So, Lauren, I really want to thank you so much for coming and sharing on how your mindset really changed your life. It emanated from one area in your life, but you were able to apply those learnings to more than one area in your life. And now you're a happy, successful mommy with a beautiful 3-year-old. She's 3, right?
Yes, she is.
So thanks again. And to my audience, thanks for watching. This is Sreshtha Tewari, and I will see you all again tomorrow. Bye, everyone.